Have you ever wondered what documents you need to provide to a lender so you can get pre-approved? So many of you feel that the pre-approval process is so invasive and it's tough to get through, when in actuality, it's really not. In this video, I'm gonna be giving you the 7 documents that you need to have ready for your lender so you can get through the pre-approval process as easily as possible. The first document that you're gonna wanna have ready, and one of the most important things that a lender is gonna ask for, is your pay stubs. We're gonna ask for 1 month of pay stubs. So if you get paid twice a month, that's gonna be 2 pay stubs, or maybe you're on a salary and you get 1 paycheck once a month. Whatever 30 days worth of pay stubs is, that's what you will need to provide to your lender. And the reason why we wanna see your pay stubs is we wanna look at your year to date. We want to see what your average income is going to be over the course of the year. Now, whether you get bonuses or maybe there's other income that comes in, whether it's commission income, we want to be able to document that so that way we know how to best structure your loan when it comes to getting your loan approved with our underwriter. And document number 2 is going to be 2 years of your W-2 forms. Again, we're going to be looking at your income over the last 2 years. We want to make sure that there's stability, and with your pay stubs, document number 1, we want to make sure that your year-to-date matches up to what you've been earning over the last 24 months. Typically what we see, people will earn more money as the years go on. So that works in your favor. However, when certain instances come up like COVID, and many of you had experienced maybe a decrease in income, how a lender typically looks at the income is in a worst case scenario. So let's just say Terrence, for example, provides me with 2 years of W-2 forms. Let's say in 2019, he earned $100,000. And let's say in 2020, he earned $75,000. And now let's just say his year to date, he's on pace to make $60,000. The past 2 years won't have that much of an effect on his income because he actually has declining income. So we're gonna use the $60,000 to qualify him for the mortgage. Now, let's look at another scenario with Terrence. Let's say in 2019, he made $60,000, 2020, he made $75,000, and 2021, his year to date, let's say he's gonna make $100,000. So what we would do is we'd average the income out to be able to use all 24 months plus his year to date. That would essentially be his qualifying income that we could use for him to qualify to purchase a home. That's why it's so important to have the year to date and those 2 years of W-2 forms to make sure that everything coincides with what you're trying to purchase. Now, let's say you're self-employed. We're typically gonna ask for 2 years of your 1099 forms. So make sure you have all those documents handy. If you can't get a hold of your W-2 forms or your 1099 forms, one of the easiest ways to obtain them is to contact your employer, and they can probably get them to you, or your HR department. I know sometimes it is difficult because you're not keeping track of all your documents, but when it comes to purchasing a home, being organized and having all these 7 items is gonna help you get through the process as easily as possible. 2 years of tax returns. And we want all pages and all schedules. So many times when we're looking at your paperwork, you might give us the first page of the tax return, but no, we need everything. I need every page of the 1040, which is the federal tax return. If you file state taxes, like in California, for example, we don't need to look at the state returns, we just need the 1040s. But make sure you have all pages and all schedules, because again, we need to make sure that the pay stubs, the W-2s, 1099 forms, and the tax returns all make sense. Because if you go back to the olden days, back when 2008 and the crash happened, there was a lot of fraud that took place. People didn't have to provide documentation. So now lenders are gonna make sure that everything coincides with each other, from the pay stub to the W-2 to the tax return. Now, if you can't get a hold of your tax return, you could always contact the IRS, get a copy of it from them, or contact your CPA if you're using one, and they can always provide that to us, so that way it'll make it easy for you to get that document over to us so we can finish the pre-approval. 2 months of bank statements. One of the biggest thing in lending is we have to be able to verify and document where your closing funds are going to be coming from. Again, if you go back into the old days, back in 2007 and 8, we didn't need any documentation. So if you told me you had $100,000 in the bank, I would take your word for it and we put that on the application. That doesn't happen anymore. In today's world, we need to make sure that we can document where your funds are coming from. And if you've been watching my channel, I do talk about cash and how to handle that. And especially if you are a tip earner, you want to make sure that you document all that stuff. So we're going to need to be able to show where the funds are coming from. You can't just have 20 grand in cash laying around under your bed and expect to use that in a transaction, because one of the other things that we also look at is money laundering. We have to make sure that we can document the funds. It's not coming from somewhere else that's illegal and you're trying to use it to purchase a home and then wash the money out. So make sure you can document your funds. If you can't, have that conversation with your lender and be honest. That's one of the biggest things that I always talk about as well, is communication with your lender so they know how to best structure your deal to help you get into the house. Now, with regards to the pay stubs, taxes, and the bank statements, if you're working with a great lender like us at Loan Depot, we have ways that we can digitally verify your income and your assets. So as you're filling out our application online, you can actually connect your bank account, and if we can verify your employment through the various sources of verifications, a lot of that will eliminate the documents that we're going to be needing. But don't forget, still have these documents handy so that way, just in case if we do need them, you do have them handy so we can speed through the process. You need some form of identification. So whether it's a passport, a driver's license, we need something to be able to verify that you are who you say you are. Again, this just goes back to the old days of all the fraud that went rampant here in the mortgage industry. So we just need to make sure that the person that's taking out the loan is exactly who they say they are. That way there's no identity theft or fraud that's going on. And what's crazy is I've actually dealt with a client that used a fake ID once that tried to purchase a home. They had a fake ID. They even manufactured the bank statements to try to match the exact same name. But as we were doing verifications on their employment, we found out that person didn't even work at the job. They had created fake tax returns, pay stubs, and bank statements. But when we looked at the pay stub, it was an easy telltale sign when the year to date and all the numbers ended in zeros. So everything was like 5,000, 10,000, and there was no cents or decimals that they're essentially using. So that was a red flag for our team, and we actually caught that. So that's why we want to make sure that you are who you say you are when you're looking to buy a house. And document number 7, this is a bonus. So if you do own other real estate, we are going to ask you for current copies of your mortgage statements, property tax bills. If there's an HOA, we're going to ask for that as well, along with the homeowner's insurance declaration page. So this is the bonus section. This is for all of you that own other properties, other rentals, that we have to take that into account when we're looking at qualifying for your mortgage. Those are the 7 documents that you should have handy when you're going to talk to a lender and get ready to get pre-approved. And don't forget, if you want more information on how to get your mortgage right, make sure to check out this playlist so you can learn more, and I'll see you on the next video.